Was everybody able to take a peek at the outline that I have for tonight? You do not have to do anything with it, but if you want to follow along, that would be super great and helpful. If you did not take a peek yet, let me go ahead. I can pop it in the chat here real quick. Okay, I'll just put it in here. Okay, well, we'll get started, you guys. Some of you were at Summit. Some of you were not. This is going to be kind of just a little mishmash of a training that I did with my Rachel Hollis business coaching last month, mixed with a little bit of some really incredible content that we got at Summit. So I also had a couple questions from a few of you that I wanted to talk about tonight, and then we'll leave a little bit more room at the end if anybody has anything else that they want to hop on and ask. So tonight we are chatting about your brand voice and really what this means. This is really your way of, this is how you choose to show up as an entrepreneur, as a working mom, as a busy professional. This is really the message that you're casting out to your network, and that's either online or in person. It's how you choose to show up every single day. So whatever that voice looks like for you, and we're all gonna have a different one, whatever that looks like for you, my goal tonight is to help you make that a consistent voice, okay? So I wrote a couple notes in the outline tonight. Gosh, I have too many windows open, such as. All right, so your personal brand is your promise to your customers, first of all. So this is your promise that you are going to deliver them quality content, you are going to be consistent in your approach, and you're going to be reliable, all right? Second, when your customers or when your network click on your social media or when they engage with you, they should know what to expect, all right? Whether that is the tone, your imagery, your verbiage, whatever you put out there in the world, they should know what to expect. Like, I think for me, if people come to my social media, they know that, number one, I like to keep it real. Number two, I usually try to come with a positive attitude, and I feel like people know that when they stop by. And same with number three, your tone, your style, your verbiage. This is how people get to know you and trust you, and this is really a direct reflection of your brand. So we're gonna chat a little bit tonight about the words that you can use to connect with your audience. So first of all, tonight, I wanted to just take literally like 2 minutes. We're gonna break this into professional voice and personal voice, and we're gonna group it all together at the end. But I wanted you to take just a minute or two tonight and write down 5 things. If you could only say 5 things to somebody about Zaya, what would you say? How could you explain our business to your audience? So if you wanna just take a minute, I wrote mine down already, I cheated, but you guys can take a minute, and I'll just kind of pause it here for a second. So I'll go ahead and share my 5, and you guys are more than welcome to share yours too if you want. So when I first think about Zaya, and if I'm trying to relay our business to my friends, my audience, first of all, I think of family run. I love the Bradley family. I think that's amazing. That's a really great selling point for what we do. So we're a family run business. I also bring up our community and our 4 pillars. I also think that's super cool that we get to do that in a huge business like this. Number 3, I bring up our quality and the performance of our gear. Number 4, I like to talk about how Zaya allows women to build their own businesses. And then number 5, I wrote down that we have a huge opportunity for explosive yet sustainable growth. And I think the sustainable part is really key here too. So if anybody else wants to unmute and share, you're more than welcome. I'd love to hear what else you guys had to say. You don't have to share all 5, maybe even 1 or 2.
say something.
Yay! What's up, Kara?
Sorry, I'm sitting outside eating dinner, so if I'm chewing in the phone, I apologize. One of mine is like reliable. It's a company that you can trust, and if something happens to a product or if something's not right, they're a company you can stand behind. Unlike maybe bring something from Amazon, coming from the reliability.
Hold on, honey.
Just a minute. I'm gonna see. Let's see. We have a little bit of audio going on here. Maybe if you're not wanting to talk, you can mute yourselves. How about that? Does anybody else want to share something that they wrote down? Nobody? You guys are super quiet tonight. All right, so, okay, that's fine. You guys can take some time, think about that. Now I thought if we kind of turn this on to
We're gonna go get Riley.
I don't know how to mute all on here. Let me see. Yes. Sorry, you guys. There's just a lot of background noise, so I'm trying to figure this out. But okay, I don't know. Sorry, I'll figure that out for next time, how to mute all. Super easy. Okay, so now we're going to talk about personal voice. So what is it that personally anchored you to Zaya? So what do you love about the business, the products, the opportunity? What made you fall in love with what we do and what kept you coming back? So if you want to just take a couple minutes to talk about how Zaya has had a personal effect on you, then if you want to share those in a minute, you can, or you don't have to. I'll give you a second to kind of fill this out.
Door's unlocked, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, the door is unlocked.
Okay. All right, so I'll share the 5 that I put down from me personally, and then if anybody else wants to hop on, they can. But I feel like the top 5 things that really have anchored me to Zaya. Number 1, I get to spread my wings as an entrepreneur. Number 2, I get to fulfill my passion of empowering women. Number 3, financial freedom. Number 4, I feel amazing when I wear Zaya. I think that's like the most fun part. And number 5, I'm able to give back to my community. So those are a couple that I thought of. If anybody else wants to share yours, you're more than welcome. I see Jacoby's hand waving. Hi, Jacoby. Okay, y'all are quiet. That's all right. It's Monday. I totally get it. All right, so what we're going to do, you guys, I want you to take these 2 lists, your professional voice and your personal voice, and I want you going forward to craft your message with those voices and really to tell your story. So if you're feeling stuck with content to post, look back at these top 5 from either and just pick apart pieces and make sure that every time you're posting on social or when you're having a conversation with somebody that you are showing up in a way that's consistent with your voice. So, of course, that's going to be different for everybody. And I think that's what sets us apart and what makes us unique. And that is especially going to be important as we continue growing as a company. So that leads us to the next part of tonight's call. For those of you who were at Summit, we got to hear from Kendra Hall on the power of storytelling. She is amazing, you guys. I loved her. She is a professional speaker. She's a professional storyteller, and she really talked about why stories are so important in our business. And I think what resonated with me most was that it's not the magnitude of the story that matters. It's telling the story. So we don't all have these super deep emotional ties. I mean, some of us just don't. So the power is actually telling the story itself. And that's because humans resonate with stories. They offer that authentic connection and relatability. And I think that stories make us vulnerable to each other, and that brings empathy from our listeners. So there's that connection built in with stories. And so for those of you who weren't at Summit, we'll just go through, I put a couple slides in our outline just so that you can kind of see what we got to hear about. She talked about the foolproof storytelling strategies. So finding the story, crafting the story, and then telling the story. And finding the story, I thought this slide was really awesome because sometimes I'm feeling stuck and I'm kind of like, oh gosh, I'm not sure where to dig in, where to find the right words to say. And so she has these top 6 things. So make a list of firsts, list your favorite products and a time that you wore it, make a list of your customers and their experiences, make a list of the most common questions, make a list of objections, and the moment you discovered your why. So you guys can bookmark that slide. I think it's a really, really great one to go back to, especially when we're crafting our message through our voices. So when you're crafting your story, this is the part that stuck out to me most was, most stories you think have the beginning, the middle, and the end. And she threw this out and she says that we can't think of it that way. To tell a really powerful story, we need to have a normal, an explosion, and a new normal. And so I was thinking about what that could look like. And I think when you go back to those top 5 things that you wrote down for either your professional or your personal voice, maybe that type of sequence for you could be like, I was a brand new rep. I had yet to launch my business. I was scared and unsure. So that was your normal, right? That's where you were. And then I attended my first Zaya Summit. That could be your explosion. And this is what happened. Or maybe your normal is, I'm struggling as a new mom to find my sense of normalcy. Nothing fits. My body's different. I'm tired. And then your explosion could be, I tried my very first pair of legging tights. And the new normal could be like, everything has a home. I feel confident. I feel amazing. I can focus on my workouts rather than my body. So just remember, you guys, that people don't buy the thing, they buy the story. So that's kind of all I had for that component tonight. I had a couple reps who couldn't hop on tonight, and they had a few questions. And so I thought if they had these questions, you guys might too. So let me just go through those 2 real quick. And then if anybody has anything else they want to add, we can do that too. So the first thing I heard tonight was, I'm feeling maxed out in my small town. And I think that can be applied to a lot of different things. Like, I live in Parker, Colorado. Caitlin's on here. We have a ton of reps in Parker, right, Caitlin? Like a ton of reps. And I see people walking around the streets wearing Zaya that I know didn't buy from me. And so I'm feeling like, okay, this is really amazing, first of all, for brand awareness. But number 2, I can understand how you're kind of feeling that way. But I think it's really important to go back to the abundance mindset. So there is enough to go around, and we're in this Zaya bubble. So everybody that we are talking to, everybody that we're in contact with, we all just assume that they know about Zaya because we're in that life right now. But you have to remember that there's still so many people outside of your circle that don't know about Zaya. So get that out of your head, that there's not enough to go around. I would also recommend getting out of your immediate circles of friends and family super quick. So I always talk about how strangers are going to be your best friends in this business. And the way that has worked for me to do that is really through online events. That is just a really powerful way to connect with people that you don't know, that are outside of your city or your state. They don't look like you. They don't talk like you. So I think that if you can, even if Facebook parties aren't your thing, if you can focus on trying to build that online network, that's going to get you out of that bubble as fast as possible. And I also think instead of, a lot of us do giveaways and things like that for our Facebook parties. Well, maybe instead of doing a giveaway for orders, a way to kind of get outside that network is to incentivize people for booking a party. So maybe you have people on this online event, and instead of giving away a free bomber bra to somebody who orders, you could say, guess what? I have, I don't know, 3 bomber bras available to the next 3 people who book an event with me. So that might be a really great way to kind of bust out of that initial circle of family and friends and kind of get out of your little community. Also, ask for the referral. I think we forget to do that sometimes. Like, we have our customers and they write back and they're like, oh my gosh, I love the gear. And we kind of let it stop. So ask for that referral, because I guarantee you that that person is going to know at least somebody else that you don't. And then I like to reward my customers for the referral. I mean, it's usually a little thing. If I have a customer who gets me a rep, through that conversation, that might be a $25 gift card. If I have a customer who adds some people to my group, that might be like a $5 gift card. So I like to reward for that referral, though, just to keep them coming back and get them excited about inviting new people. And then also, I was thinking about this today, the holidays are coming up sooner than we think. So schedule events where you're visiting. If you're visiting your relatives or family or friends outside of your community, schedule pop-ups where you're going. Thanksgiving, that would be such a fun one. Like, I'm just thinking about this now, like, we're all like busting out of our pants for Thanksgiving dinner. Like, have some sort of like, I don't know, like light and tight dinner or something. Like, I don't know, make it fun. Give people some like super comfy pants to wear for Thanksgiving. But I'm just thinking, with all the traveling that's going to happen in the next couple weeks and months, that would be a really great way also to get out of your network. One more question that I had. This should probably be a training in and of itself. So I'm going to just keep it super brief tonight. We can talk more about this later, but I just had a question about tips for online parties. Now, you guys, I am in Facebook jail, so I'm not the best person to talk about this right now, but here are a couple things that I like to do for my parties, and they seem to work well for me. Number 1, I like to run my parties from a Wednesday through a Friday. I do a last call for orders on a Sunday. I keep it short and sweet. So the Monday prior to our event that starts on Wednesday, I will reach out to my hostess and I will give her her shopping link. I will give her the link to our group that I've had set up. And then I'm going to give her some words to say with a couple images to have her invite her friends. I don't want them in that group very long before we get started. Otherwise, they're just going to sit in there and be like, well, what's happening? Like, why is there nothing going on? So I really wait until that last 24 to 48 hours. That way, when they come into the group, usually on a Monday or a Tuesday, I will do a welcome video. I usually like to do a polling option. Sometimes I like to ask them, a couple different questions on whether or not they've heard of Zaya, if they've bought anything before, what they like. So use that poll function in the groups. I think that that's really fun and it gets engagement. Let's see. I always make my hostess an admin, which is also super helpful when you're in Facebook jail. So make sure every single group that you're in, you have another admin that is not you. So that way, if you do get locked out, you have somebody else that has the ability to add people, to make posts and moderate the event. That's kind of what's happening for my events this week. I like to do at least one live video every day, and I usually post maybe 8 times throughout the day. So don't do a ton of posts, but I do try. On day 1, I talk about basics. So this is Wednesday. We're kicking off. I'm so excited because it's launch day. We're talking about basics, entry-level pieces, like our bomber bra, our copper charge tanks, our light and tights, okay? So these are things that, for some people that may have a little bit of sticker shock, this is a great way to ease them into Zaya without them feeling like, oh my gosh, I can't afford anything in this group. Day 2, I usually talk about casual wear, so things like joggers, hoodies, whatever seasonal, but I usually kind of keep that a casual day, like if you are staying at home with your kids or if you're running errands, that type of thing. And then day 3 on that Friday, I really like to do dressed up Zaya. So if you are a teacher or a professional, or if you want a date night or girls night out, these are some pieces that I like to incorporate into a capsule wardrobe. So those are kind of the 3 different things that I like to focus on throughout those 3 days. And then always make sure you do a call to action. This is super important. So we really have 3 ways that you can get involved with Zaya. You can shop, you can host, and you can join. So I always encourage people, you know, I kind of break it down into those 3 categories, and I encourage people to come over to my VIP group on Facebook. And then I always list out the hostess rewards, because I think that's really intriguing for some people. I mean, our hostess rewards are amazing. I've done parties for a lot of different companies, and ours are
I'm trying to figure something out.
That one's always really great. And then I always like to throw out the opportunity. If they've been watching for the last few days and think, oh my gosh, like she's getting paid to wear activewear, that sounds like something that I could do, then I like to schedule a time to chat. So let's see, last but not least, I think for a successful party is to engage with your customers after the event. So I like to always mail a handwritten thank you note with my business card, because a lot of times we've only met on Facebook and they don't really know how to get a hold of me. So I like to mail my business card so they at least have my email and my phone number. And then depending on our dialogue throughout the week, if I'm feeling connected to that person, I'll send them a friend request. And that way I can invite them over to my VIP group. Those usually are the people who end up hosting or repping. So I kind of like to feel that out per individual event. Okay, that's it for tonight. If anybody else has questions though, we've got a couple minutes. Otherwise we can call it a day.
I don't have any other tips. I guess I just want to say that it's really nice to see what your party flow is like, because I feel like I've kind of been getting stuck in a rut with the same flow. And so I like to see how, or hear how you're doing it. So thanks for those tips.
Awesome, you're welcome. Well, and I try to, I do try and keep it seasonal, but I try to kind of, I don't know, I feel like we have so much inventory now, we can't show it all. And so if you try to put 20 posts a day in your group, you're going to overwhelm people. So I try to just kind of pick my favorites for the day and really think about my audience. So that was helpful. Anybody else? Okay, you guys. Well, this is super fun. I always love seeing all your faces. I'm hoping that I'll be out of jail soon so you don't have to hear from my husband's account anymore. But you guys can email me, text me, message me, whatever you need. I'm here to help. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your week, okay?